Imagine a cataclysm so profound it nearly wiped out an entire gender from the ancient world. Not a meteorite, not a supervolcano, but something far more insidious. Our very DNA whispers of this forgotten horror. A shocking scientific discovery has unearthed a genetic bottleneck in humanity's past, revealing a period when an unfathomable 95% of the male population vanished. This wasn't just a tough time, it was an era of imaginable violence that reshaped our species forever, leaving an indelible mark coded within our cells. Deep within our genetic blueprint lie billions of base pairs of DNA. Researchers analyzing the genomes of modern populations stumbled upon a startling anomaly, a dramatic reduction in genetic diversity, not across all humans, but specifically within the Y-chromosome. This genetic marker, passed exclusively from father to son, showed a catastrophic decline a few thousand years ago during the late Neolithic period, spanning Africa, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. While females' mitochondrial DNA, inherited through mothers, displayed no corresponding drop, the male lineage plummeted. Scientists estimate that only 1 in 20 men survived whatever transpired. This wasn't simply a population dip, it was a decimation, suggesting a male-specific purge on an unprecedented scale. No conflict in recorded history, not even the world wars, approaches this level of lethality by percentage. If this happened today, it would mean nearly 4 billion men disappearing, leaving barely 200 million standing. Such a claim born from genetic analysis demands tangible proof, and the archaeological record delivers. Across Europe alone, over 250 late Neolithic sites bear witness to violent deaths. This era stands out for its pervasive brutality. An analysis of over 2,300 early farmers revealed that more than 10% of individuals, both men and women, sustained injuries consistent with weapons from raids or territorial disputes. In Spain, a study of 338 individuals showed 23% with signs of aggressive trauma, with adult and adolescent males overwhelmingly represented. They accounted for 97% of unhealed injuries and 81% of healed ones, indicating a life rife with repeated violent encounters. While these numbers might not directly match the inferred 95% genetic reduction, it's crucial to remember that many fatal attacks, especially with sharp weapons, leave no trace on bones. Furthermore, disease and infection, rampant in the aftermath of conflict, would claim many more lives without leaving direct skeletal evidence of violence.
During this harrowing period, 2 grim phenomena became disturbingly common: organized battles and indiscriminate massacres. One of the most haunting discoveries is the Talheim death pit in Germany, dated to around 5000 BC. Here, archaeologists uncovered the remains of at least 34 individuals, brutally slain. Strikingly, none of the skeletons showed defensive injuries, suggesting victims were fleeing, not fighting. The killing blows were inflicted primarily by adze-like tools, either with the sharp edge or the blunt side, almost universally targeting the head. Of the dead, 16 were children, 9 adult men, and 7 older women. Notably, younger women were conspicuously absent, a pattern observed at many Neolithic massacre sites, indicating they were often taken captive, perhaps as trophies or for forced labor by the victors. This massacre occurred within a fortified settlement, ringed by palisades, a chilling testament to the constant need for protection against fellow humans. Not far away, in Austria, lies another horrifying scene, the Schlitz massacre, also dated around 5000 BC. This site was far deadlier, with an estimated 200 victims. Their bodies were carelessly dumped into a mass grave after a raid. Like Talheim, there was a noticeable lack of dead women and an abundance of dead men. Beyond kidnapping adult women, evidence suggests that preteens and young teenagers might also have been taken, as they were similarly scarce among the dead. A further gruesome distinction at Schlitz was the systematic dismemberment of many victims. Numerous skeletons were found missing arms and legs, with severed skulls located separately. This points to potential torture or ritualistic dismemberment, perhaps a common practice for these specific aggressors. If Talheim and Schlitz depict horrifying acts of brutality, then Herxheim, also in Germany, between 5300 and 4950 BC, reveals a new level of terror. Unlike other sites, archaeologists believe Herxheim was not a ravaged settlement, but rather a community of ravagers. This village, spanning 15 acres, contained at least 80 pits just outside its walls, filled to the brim with human remains. Estimates suggest up to 1,500 individuals were processed here, ranging from newborns to elders. To put this in perspective, relative to modern populations, it would be akin to a city building a mass grave for 800,000 corpses outside its walls. The victims at Herxheim underwent a disturbingly consistent process. Their bodies were dismembered, bones broken, and skulls cleaved down the middle. So many skulls were cut and defleshed that researchers suspect the inhabitants of Herxheim were practitioners of a skull cult, using the heads in some ritual, and quite possibly consuming parts of them. The brain, with its high fat content, appears to have been a prized delicacy. Signs of tongues being removed and bones crushed for marrow extraction further suggest a systematic approach to cannibalism. Even more chillingly, specific bones like metatarsals and hand phalanges showed preferential bite marks, implying certain body parts were favored. Many remains showed signs of having been cooked, some even spit roasted. Once stripped of flesh, bones were crafted into cups, tools, or decorations, with some even impaled on spikes near the settlement's entrance. Avoiding the people of Herxheim would have been a near impossible feat. Despite the limited transportation of the era, they waged war on a vast scale. Their victims hailed from diverse cultures, some from as far as 300 miles away. Isotopes in the bones indicated a mix of hunter-gatherers and farmers, mountain dwellers and lowlanders. This paints a picture of horrifically bloodthirsty people, executing successful raids requiring sophisticated tactics and logistics, all from a settlement significantly smaller than the number of its victims. The fate of Herxheim's natives remains a mystery. Some evidence suggests the settlement was abandoned shortly after the massacres, perhaps in anticipation of retribution from another group. This site is a chilling testament to the diverse, specific, and often ritualistic brutality of the period. Warriors collected heads, groups systematically broke and removed shins, xenophobic factions hunted down and mutilated newcomers, and some even buried people alive. The weaponry was equally diverse, ranging from adzes, spears, and bows to axes, clubs, and knives. Yet armor was almost non-existent, offering little protection beyond animal skins. This combination of innovative weaponry and minimal defense made life exceptionally perilous, particularly for fighting-aged men. Simply reaching adulthood was an achievement, with the pervasive violence contributing to an average lifespan of a mere 20 to 33 years. So what ignited this inferno of violence? There's no single simple answer, but one leading hypothesis points to a turning point in human history, the Neolithic Revolution. Not long before this period of extreme violence began, humanity underwent a profound transformation, shifting from nomadic hunter-gatherer societies to settled agricultural communities. This revolution brought unprecedented benefits: a surge in population, the establishment of permanent settlements, and advancements in technology and organization. But this success came with a terrifying cost. The ability to grow crops and raise livestock meant humans now had fixed assets, food, land, and resources that could be raided. Settlements themselves became prime targets, offering concentrated loot, including food, tools, and women. Furthermore, the very existence of neighboring settlements, with their competing claims on land and resources, might have been perceived as an existential threat, fostering an us-versus-them mentality, where all neighbors were potential enemies. The Neolithic Revolution, while a crucible of progress, also forged new, potent reasons for conflict that had barely existed before. The question remains, why was the Y-chromosome, and thus the male population, so devastatingly impacted? The widespread violence clearly played a role, but the specificity suggests deeper societal shifts. One prominent idea is that during the agricultural revolution, human societies reorganized into increasingly patrilineal kin groups. In a world where trust was a rare commodity, reliance on blood relatives, especially through the male line, would have been a powerful survival strategy. This new social structure might have led to highly restricted movement for men outside their kin group. While women might move between groups through marriage or capture, male outsiders would be viewed with deep suspicion, if not outright hostility. When these patrilineal clans clashed, the entire male lineage of a defeated group could be annihilated, as they were inherently tied to their land in specific family line. This would make the Y chromosome exceptionally vulnerable to sudden dramatic reductions, explaining the one-sided nature of the genetic bottleneck. The survival of a few dominant male lineages, along with the complete erasure of others, would naturally lead to a severe drop in Y chromosome diversity. However, not all scientists agree with a purely violent explanation. An alternative, more peaceful hypothesis suggests that patrilineal clans might have frequently split through a process called lineal fission. As these new clans, comprised of closely related males, branched off, their Y chromosome lineages became inherently more vulnerable to disappearing over time, especially when confronted with environmental hardships or resource scarcity. Over generations, some male lineages would flourish and expand, while others would gradually fade away, leading to a natural, albeit gradual, reduction in overall Y chromosome diversity. This process would be further compounded by reproductive fitness, where highly successful groups outcompeted others, reinforcing their genetic dominance, while less successful groups dwindled and vanished. It's also highly probable that both scenarios are true to some extent. The brutal violence evident in the archaeological record, combined with the dynamics of patrilineal kinship and natural selection pressures, could have collectively worked to dramatically reduce the effective male population. Whatever the precise combination of factors, there's no denying that something profound occurred. The legacy of this bottleneck persists to this day. While overall human genetics have largely recovered, certain modern populations still exhibit lower genetic diversity than pre-bottleneck levels. Had this cataclysmic event never happened, our genetic landscape and perhaps even our societal structures might look vastly different. The ghost of that ancient male-specific culling is still with us, a silent reminder in our DNA. This journey through our violent past leads to another critical question. How did this era of pervasive bloodshed ever end? It didn't, not in an absolute sense. Throughout history, wars have continued, claiming ever greater numbers of lives as technology advanced. Yet humanity's ability to reproduce and grow population-wise eventually outpaced the death tolls. We grew faster than we died, leading to a relative improvement in our survival odds. Over time, more complex societies emerged. The development of intricate trade networks and the rise of diplomacy began to cool the fires of constant conflict. However, this cooling off period is a relatively recent phenomenon. When examining the last 600 years, it's only in the past century or so that a truly significant shift towards peace began. Since World War I, the number of new conflicts starting each year has been on a mostly downward trajectory.
Though it might be hard to reconcile with today's headlines, we live in an exceptionally peaceful world compared to our ancestors. Our remarkably long lifespans, now over 3 times that of our Neolithic predecessors, are testament to this progress. While we grapple with our own unique problems and challenges, one can certainly be grateful not to face the daily threat of skull cultists, dismemberment, or the chilling prospect of being buried alive. The echoes of that genetic ghost remind us just how far we've come. Of the late Neolithic bottleneck is a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for both unimaginable brutality and incredible resilience. Our DNA holds the secrets of a time when the world was awash in conflict and survival was a daily struggle, particularly for men. It underscores how major societal shifts, like the agricultural revolution, can unlock both immense progress and unforeseen horrors. While the exact interplay of violence and other factors may never be fully known, the genetic evidence and archaeological record paint a chilling picture of a lost world. This journey into our distant past reveals not only the fragility of existence, but also the extraordinary path our species has taken to reach the relative peace and prosperity we experience today. It's a powerful lesson, etched not in stone, but in the very fabric of our being.